Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you week 10 of the Elements crochet along. Elements has been designed by Sandra from Hooks and Yarn. For part 10 I'm using Scheepjes stonewashed yarn, exactly as I have been using for all parts up till now, with a 4mm crochet hook. What we're doing in part 10, we're going to be finishing the big square, so along the big edge we're going to be working the outer edge, so just those last few rounds with mostly granny special stitches. So those last few rounds aren't too tricky. If you've been able to come up till here, that'll be fine also. And we're going to be working 8 of these squares that we're going to be used to extend the blanket. We'll also be working more squares next week, but this week the last few rounds of the big square as well as 8 small squares. Take you step by step through everything that makes up part 10. Thank you for watching. Round 64, you're going to start this round by making a granny corner and then work 20 of these granny special groups in your spaces, and then if you move along and you've done those 20, you work a granny special in that skipped stitch from the previous round. So this is all exactly the same as we've done before, and at this point I'd just like to show you how to do this little bit here in between, and then on the other side you do exactly the same again. So you've done 20 granny specials, you just worked this granny special in that skipped stitch, and you now have these double crochet stitches here. What you're going to do is going to start by skipping 3 stitches. Pattern says 2, but of course it's again this hidden stitch, it's that one, plus 2, and then in the next stitch you work a double crochet. So it's, as you can see here, there's that hidden stitch, and then 2, and then work a double crochet in the next. Work a treble around the 5th half double from 2 rows down. So you see here's 2 rows down, you see that half double, there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's this half double here, starting, so you see there's that treble, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So around this half double here, going to work a treble. That's going to be the leg of the granny special that we're working here. And then come back up and work a double crochet in the same stitch as that you've just worked the first one. I'm going to skip 2 stitches. So 1, 2, skip, and then in the third work a double crochet, and then again come down 2 rows and work a front post treble around the 8th half double. Now you know that's number 5, so 3 more, 2, 3, work a front post treble around that one, and then come back up and in the same stitch work a double crochet. So you've now worked 2 granny specials. At this point you have 3 stitches left. You're going to skip all 3 stitches and then in the space work a granny special again. So you're going to skip those 3 stitches, then in that space is a granny special. It's 1, so double crochet, and then in that skipped stitch that you can easily see there, work the treble and a double crochet in this space. At this point you're going to continue and work a granny special in all of these spaces, and when you get to the corner, if I can find it, work a special in the stitch in the corner, granny special corner, go all the way around, and just here in the middle just pay attention to skipping the correct number of stitches and where to work those front posts. So in the 5th and the 8th half double, 2 rows down. Go all the way around, and then I'll see you for the next round. Round 65, again work a granny special in the corner, so the corner special, and then work 21 granny special stitches. That will bring you about halfway along the straight edge. I'm just going to show you the bits here in the middle, and then you do again 21 granny special stitches. So I've just done that last one here. You see that last granny special. Now we're in this space here. Going to work a granny special in there. So in that space, in there work the double crochet. Now the treble, we're going to work around the second double crochet of round 63. If you look here, you see those double crochets there, that's the second one. So around that second one we're going to work the treble. And then complete the stitch by working a double crochet again in the space. Going to the next space here, again work a granny special, going to work a double crochet, and now the front post treble is going to be between these two double crochets. You see between double crochet 5 and 6. Now if you want to count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, that one there's 4, 5 and 6, so in between those two, in between the stitches. I'm going to work that front post treble. Oh, actually it's not really a front post, it's just a treble. And then a double crochet again to the back. We move to the next space here for a granny special. Work a double crochet in the space. And now the treble is around the 9th double crochet. Now you know you've got 10 here, so so take the second last one and work the treble there, and then back in the space work a double crochet. I'm going to go to the next space, it's this one here, and in there is the first of, I believe again, 21 granny specials with the treble this time just around the treble that's readily available to you. Repeat this, so this granny special stitch till you get to the corner, and then work a corner, and then go all the way around, and just here in the middle pay a little bit of attention on where your trebles go, but for the rest this round should be reasonably straightforward. Round 66. This round we're going to be working single crochets and front post trebles. I'm going to use the same color yarn. I'm just going to slip stitch to the corner. You can also cut your yarn and start in the corner with a new stitch, that's also fine. I'm going to slip stitch to the corner, chain 1. This is not a stitch, this is just to get me to the correct working height. I'm going to start to make the corner, which is a single crochet, chain 1 and a single crochet. If it's easier for you, mark this chain 1 with a stitch marker if it helps you to find that corner stitch later on. I'm going to start the straight edge. We're going to skip the first stitch and then make a single crochet. So skipping the first stitch, and that's that very first one, it's a little bit hidden. Then work a single crochet on the next, which will be the front post treble stitches. That treble stitch there. It's not actually the front post because it's worked on the space, but that treble stitch, that's your first single. And then work a single on the next, which is this double crochet. Going to work a front post around this front post from 2 rows down. Twice over. And then work a front post treble. Going to skip the next stitch and then work a single again. So skip the next stitch, this first double crochet, and then on that second, which is the front post here, work a single. And this little single crochet is the same as that first single crochet which we worked in this treble here. So these 3 stitches, the single crochet, the treble and the single crochet, and skipping that first stitch, that first one there, you're going to repeat this until you're to the other side, where this single crochet is the start of the repeat. So it's a single, single, twice over, work a treble, and skip a stitch. That's the repeat. So I'll show you the repeat once more. It's a single, single, and a treble. And then skip the first stitch. And a single, single, and then a treble around the treble. I'm going to repeat this until, in essence, until you're to the other side. So it's quite a few more times. I believe something like 45 times in total. Then I'll just see you for the other side, just to go around the corner again. I'm almost to the next corner. I've done a lot of these repeats now. At this point, you'll have 1 granny stitch left. You're going to skip that first stitch. That's still part of the repeat unit that belongs to the previous one. This treble still is to skip that stitch, and then on the last 2 stitches work a single crochet and 2. In the corner you work a new corner. It's going to be a single, chain 1, and a single. And then this corner is the same as the corner we started with. So on your next edge, do exactly the same. Skip the first stitch, work the singles and the trebles, go all the way around, and then close on your first stitch. Round 67. Last round of the large center square. I'm going to start on any chain 1 corner space. Just open up your stitches, you'll see that there's the chain 1, or if you've marked it with a stitch marker, you'll also find it. It's going to attach here, chain 1, which is not a stitch, and then another single crochet in that space. You can also start with a standing single here if you prefer. Chain 1 and another single crochet in the same space. So that's your new corner made. Single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Along the edge you're going to work a back post single on every stitch. Especially the first one here. It's going to be an easy one to miss. It's hard to get into even. The very first stitch. So work a back post single crochet on every stitch. And when you get to the corner, you work a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. And you're going to do that all the way around. And it's going to give you an edge that you can join the, oops, I just got that one not quite right. That's just going to give you an edge to join your squares on that we're going to be making. You can see how I'm working those back post single crochets. In the corner, single, chain 1, single, go all the way around, and then close on your first stitch and work away your yarn tails. And when you finish that last round of back post stitches, this is what your work looks like. Now it's impossible for me to get all of this in front of the camera, but you've got a large square at this point. Your design should be square, your work. If it's not, definitely block it, and if it bobbles a little bit, mine also bobbles a bit, also block it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block this before continuing with the rest of this pattern, which is the small squares. So block it nice and straight and square, and then you're ready for the next part, in which we're going to be making small squares, and they're actually pattern wise very similar to the center design. So you see here this textured little square from part 1. We're going to be repeating a lot of that for the small squares that we're going to be making. So we're going to make these squares. For the square, the first 10 rounds are exactly the same as the start of the project of elements. So rounds 1 to 10 are from part 1. So you can just go back to the video from part 1 to look at those first 10 rounds if you need any help. So I'll just show you round 11, and then you can do all the other squares in exactly the same way. You can choose your own colorway. I'm going to stick with the ombre look that we've got going here in elements, but you can also do them all in one color or different color variations. This is all up to you. I'm just going to show you round 11, but first do the first 10 rounds exactly the same as part 1. So round 11, I'm going to use the same color yarn as I did for round 10. So I'm just going to slip stitch to the corner, and this round is actually very similar to what we've done already on the big square. Into the corner, just going to chain 1. This is not a stitch, this is just to get me to the correct working height. Then in the corner, work a single crochet, chain 1. You can mark this chain 1 that make life easier for you to find that corner later on. And another single crochet. So that's your corner. Single, chain 1, single. And on the first straight edge, we're going to skip the first stitch, then work a two single crochets and then a treble. And that we're going to repeat over to the other side. I'm going to skip this first stitch and go to the second, which is that treble. That's 1 and 2. Then on the treble you've got here, work a front post treble around that. You can hear my cat going completely nuts. He's enjoying himself. Then skip the next stitch, which is going to be the first of these 3. It's going to skip that and then work a single. And this single is the same as that first single crochet there. So these 3 stitches, single, single, the front post treble, and then skipping a stitch. You're going to repeat that until you're to this side. And this is exactly the same as one of the last rounds we did on the big square. I'll just show you the repeat again. So that's a single crochet, single crochet, front post around the front post, and then skip a stitch. And of course then this single is part of the next repeat. So I'm just going to do this on the entire edge, and I'll just quickly see you for the corner. Almost to the other side, just work that front post, skipping that stitch, which is still part of the repeat. Work 2 singles on your last 2 stitches. In the corner, single crochet, chain 1 and a single crochet, and then this corner is the same as the starting corner. Repeat this on the other 3 edges and close here with an invisible join. And when you've completed your square, work away your yarn tails. This is 1 square. This week you need to work 8 of these in total. So this is 1, and that means a whole lot more. Now here's the rest of my squares, all 8 of them. You can see I still need to work away a few yarn tails, but you need to work 8 squares. I've chosen to work all my squares in the same way, so the color distribution is the same for all of these. And I'll do the same for the other squares also, because we're going to be working more squares. But this week you're doing 8 of these squares, and when you've done that and you've done the last rounds around the big square, you're finished for this week. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.